Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Generation of Environmental Leaders program info session. We're really happy to have you here. We're kind of looking forward to hear your questions and comments regarding this new CEC program. Before I start, I would like to remind again to everyone that you can hear to this webinar in English, French, and Spanish. Please select the language of interpretation at the bottom of your screen. I would also like to mention that this is a webinar that is being recorded. My name is Georgina Farrell, and I'm the head of the Outreach and Partnerships Unit here at the CEC. My pronouns are her and she, and we will be together with Julie Jacquemin and Eleanor Facila talking to you about the Generation of Environmental Leaders program, trying to answer your questions and trying to see how we can help you so that you can submit a very strong submission. As you could see in the poll, we have kind of 79% of the people listening today, they're from Mexico. We have some colleagues from Canada and the United States. So very nice to see that we have representation from the 3 CEC countries. Before we start, it's important to acknowledge the indigenous territory from where we are conducting this online meeting. As this meeting is organized by the CEC, we will acknowledge the territory where the CEC is located. Additionally, I encourage all participants to identify the territory they are currently situated, if it's applicable. The CEC Secretariat is situated on the unceded traditional territory of the Coñequejaca, also known as Mohawk, and has served as a place of meeting and exchange for many First Nations. We recognize and respect the Coñequejaca as the traditional custodians of the lands and waters where our office is located, and are committed to working in partnership to protect the environment from coast to coast in what we refer to as Turtle Island or North America. In this webinar, I will give you a very brief introduction, and I'll show the agenda that is going to happen like today. I'll give a very brief introduction about the CEC. Then Julie will talk about the GELP, the Generation of Environmental Leaders program, and Eleanor will walk us through the submission process. We will be responding to all your questions after we hear from kind of all these 3 presentations. We encourage you to send your questions via the Q&A icon at the bottom of your screen. We'll do our best to reply all the questions. And as we see that maybe there's going to be some recurrent questions, we'll try to kind of clarify as we go kind of on the Q&A aspect of this webinar. It's important for you to know that you can share your questions in any of the 3 CEC official languages, English, French, or Spanish, and we will be replying in all the 3 languages. We will start just with another poll, because we want to know a little bit more about like how much you know about the CEC, if you've heard about the CEC before. So we just ask you just to scan the QR code, go to slido.com, with the hashtag GELP, and just let us know if you know the CEC, you've heard about the CEC before. Just giving a couple of more minutes. And very, very nice to see that, 53% are people that already know the Commission for Environmental Cooperation. Some, 27%, know a little bit, always curious to know what kind of aspects you know about the CEC. And 17%, up to now 16, it's moving as people reply to the poll, they don't know about the CEC. For those that didn't know about the CEC, we're very happy for you to join this webinar. We're talking here about the Generation of Environmental Leaders program, but we're always happy to engage with new audiences. And if there's any more information you need to get from the CEC, don't hesitate to please contact us. Just to give a very brief introduction for all of you that know a little bit or nothing about the CEC. The CEC was created in 1994, and it's constituted by our three constituent bodies: the Council, which is composed of the highest level environmental authorities from Canada, Mexico, and the US. In this case, we're talking about Minister GELP from Environment and Climate Change Canada, Administrator Regan from the Environmental Protection Agency, and the Secretary Albores from Semarnat in Mexico. We also have at the CEC a joint public advisory committee, which is composed of 9 citizens from each country, Canada, Mexico, and the US. And together they advise the Council on a wide array of environmental issues. And they also, guide the CEC Secretariat on the work that we do. The Secretariat, represented today by Julie, Eleanor, and myself, we support the parties, our three governments, in the work that they do in the collaboration of the environmental agenda. We facilitate, we work with them, and as you will see in this presentation, we work on many different aspects, one of them being youth engagement. Something important for everyone that's joining today is that every year the CEC hosts a council session. We're going to host our 31st annual council session at the end of June, which is a hybrid event. The in-person aspect of it will happen in Wilmington, North Carolina. And this is where the 3 young leaders that will be selected on this Generation of Environmental Leaders program will be presenting their solutions to the ministers or to the top officials coming to the CEC. We would like to know a little bit more about, what you're interested, to hear about this information session. We know the GELP has many aspects, and Julie will be able to walk us through what is kind of the message and what kind of solutions we're looking for. While people answer to this poll, I will mention that the CEC is committed to strengthen its meaningful youth engagement. And with the new Generation of Environmental Leaders program, it's an example of the efforts that we want to do to strengthen our efforts. We're seeing that a lot of people, would like to hear about the evaluation criteria, I guess more information about the mentorship, the seed funding. Interesting to see kind of, there's not a lot of people wanting to know about the platform that we have. Okay, now it's changing. So I think, we'll hopefully be able to reply all your questions regarding the criteria. The CEC has many and will have many more youth engagement efforts, such as a Youth Engagement Week. We have some internships, and we have many, many more efforts that are coming to you in the next years. The CEC is working towards providing a safe space for young voices to contribute to discussions and initiatives related to sustainable development, biodiversity, pollution prevention, and other critical environmental issues in the North American region. The engagement efforts that we do with youth we want them to provide opportunity for them to get engaged and to participate and help the CEC in working towards environmental cooperation. I will now pass the microphone to Julie, who she's going to be able to walk you through what is the Generation of Environmental Leaders program, and hopefully answer some of the questions that you will have. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you, Georgina. Hello, everyone. I'm really happy to be with you today and to share with you our new Generation of Environmental Leaders program. If you have any question during the presentation, feel free just to write them somewhere and then already put them in the chat, and I'll be happy to answer them in a few minutes. So the Generation of Environmental Leaders program is a new program organized by the CEC. Eleanor, if you could go to the other slide, please. Thank you. So this program is for the CEC to be able to support young leaders from the US, Mexico, and Canada in developing their skills and accessing a seed funding to make an impact in their communities. As you saw in the guidelines, when we talk about young leaders, the idea is to support a team of young leaders. So we would support a team of young leaders, one by each country. Also, maybe some more information about what we say by from Canada, US, and Mexico. The team of young leader would have to be residing in one of those three countries at the moment of the submission. Can you go to the next slide, please, Eleonore? Thank you. So the three pillars of the GELP, the Generation of Environmental Leaders Program, are the mentorship, the networking, and the seed funding. Regarding the mentorship, the idea is for a youth leader, hopefully you, to gain direct guidance from expert from your field, but also expert in project or solution development and management, so that when you come to us with your solution, then you can acquire all the skills to develop it and to really make your expected impact in your community. Some of these mentorship sessions will be public, half public, like we would invite the top applicants to benefit from it. But the selected three teams, one per country, will actually have more individualized mentorship session, really adjusted to their needs. The idea also by the networking and also by the mentorship, but specifically about the networking, the idea is for the three teams to be able to meet with communities of knowledge that share the same goal and the same interest in topics as they have. So in the first meetings we will have with these teams, the idea is to identify a community of knowledge, networks in which young leaders would like to gain access and make it possible for them to access. Also really important in networking, your first networking experience as a selected team would be to present your solution as is to the top environmental officials of Canada, Mexico, and the US. So during the council session, so you'd be invited to join us in Wilmington, North Carolina, to present your solution to our ministers. This is what I'll say for now for the networking. And for the seed funding, the idea also is to help support you financially develop your solution. So you would receive 15,000 Canadian dollars. In these 15,000 Canadian dollars, it does not include your participation to the council session. So we will take care of financing your participation to the council session, and the rest of the funding, so the 15K, will be used for your solution. In the guidelines, you can find that almost everything, it can be funded with the seed funding, except for excuse me, I don't remember.
The purchase of equipment.
Oh, thank you, Elena. I never remember this, except for the money cannot use to purchase equipment. So also, if you have any additional question about the seed funding, feel free to ask in the chat, and I'll be happy to go into more details in a few minutes. Next slide, please, Eleonore. So the eligibility criteria now. So to be able to apply, you need to be youth, what the CEC calls youth, the CEC defines youth as young people between 18 and 35. So at the moment of the submission, if you're 18 and below 35 or 35 or below, you can apply. You also have, as maybe some of you saw in the guidelines, to be part of a youth-led team. What we mean by that is you have to give us the contact of 2 other youth, so people between 18 and 35 that will contribute to your project. It doesn't have to be an official team or an official organization. You don't have to have all the papers saying like, oh, okay, you built a business or an organization that is youth-led, but it is important for us that you develop this solution collaboratively. That's why we encourage people working in teams. So as I mentioned before, you have to be residing in Canada, Mexico, and the US. And also your solution, and it's the core of the program, has to support North American communities and preserve our shared waters, lands, and air. About that, you'll see with Eleonore in a few minutes that she will give you some more information about the criteria, and also will be able to answer your question if you want additional information. Thank you, Eleonore. And the last information I'll share with you before passing the ball to Eleonore is the deadline. So it's the 31st of March, and it's at 11:59 your local time. So if you're on the East Coast, on the West Coast, in Hawaii, or in Les Maritimes, you can apply at the end of the day at your local time. Then I'll give the floor to Eleonore for the rest of the presentation.
Thank you, Julie. Hi, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you for being here and for your interest in the GELP. My name is Eleanor Facila, and my pronouns are she and her. And I will walk you through the submission process so you know what to expect and what the steps are to have a successful application process. So the first thing that you'll need to do is to access the GELP webpage in your preferred language. On the screen, you can see the URL for the 3 languages, English, Spanish, and French. And that is a URL that you'll need to type in your browser in order to access this webpage. Step number 2 is once you are in the GELP webpage, you'll need to scroll down. And as you scroll down, you'll find some information regarding the GELP, including the program, what the program offers, the evaluation criteria, and some instructions on how to apply. When you reach the bottom of the web page, you'll find a blue button that says Apply Here. So just go ahead and click that blue button. And the button you just clicked will take you to the CEC GELP guidelines. We encourage you to read these guidelines carefully because they contain all the information you need to take part in the program. And when you reach the bottom of that document, you'll find the link to the submission platform right there. So just click it, and the link will take you here. This is the online portal, and the first thing you'll need to do is create an account by clicking this white button over here. So here you can see the registration form that you'll need to fill out. Now, only one person per team needs to create an account by completing this form. And this person could be the team representative, though this is not necessary, but just one person. Now, you'll need to fill out all the required fields, which are the ones marked with an asterisk. And here we ask that you make sure to enter an email address that you check frequently, because the email address you enter will be the one that we will use to communicate with you regarding your submission. Once you finish filling out all the fields, you need to click this button over here that says Next. And this will prompt you to create and confirm your password. So after filling out these 2 boxes, just click on Create Account right there. And after clicking the Create Account button, you will be taken to this screen over here. And to finalize the registration process, you need to look for a confirmation email in your inbox coming from CCCCA-CCE, which is the acronym of the Commission in the 3 languages. And once you verify that you received that email, then go ahead and check the I have received the email box, and then click continue. So then you will be taken to this screen again, but this time you'll need to enter the email address and password that you created, and then click log on right there. And this is how you'll be able to access the submission platform from now on. Now, this is the page where you will access the application form in your preferred language. You will need to scroll down to find the application form in Spanish and French. It's available in the 3 languages. And here, you will be able to preview the application form. Just please make sure you don't fill out the application form in the preview mode, because you won't be able to submit it if you do that. When you are ready to start filling out the application form, you'll need to click apply right there. But please just make sure you click the apply button for your preferred language. Unfortunately, this button is only available in English, so just make sure that the title on the left corresponds with your preferred language. Now, this is the application form. And as you can see, it is divided into several sections. I'll briefly describe each of them for you. So the first section is the guidelines section, and this section simply asks you to check a box acknowledging that you have read the GELP guidelines. So that's pretty straightforward. Then we have the title section. Here you will enter the title for your solution. Now, you won't be evaluated based on the title of your solution, but we do recommend that you come up with a brief title that is catchy and reflects the essence of your project or solution. Next, we have the organization section. Here you will be asked to provide the name of your youth-led organization or team, as well as a brief description of it and the names of all the members in your team or organization. And this is just for us to get to know your organization better. Now, the next 2 sections will ask you to enter some information of the team representative and an additional team member. Now, both persons need to comply with all the eligibility requirements, including the age and country of residence. Now, for you to know the difference between both team members, the team representative will be our main point of contact with your organization. And if your solution is chosen, this person will likely be the one presenting it to the top environmental authorities of the 3 countries during the CEC Council session at the end of June. Now, the additional team member will also be invited to attend the CEC Council session and take part in the mentorship sessions that will take place there in person. But this person won't be presenting before the top environmental officials. Okay, now next, we'll move on to the fun part, the solution section. In this section, you'll be asked to briefly describe what your solution is. This is the first time that evaluators will actually hear about your solution. So we do recommend that you are as clear as possible in your description. And you will also be asked to indicate the implementation stage that your solution is in, but please note that you won't be evaluated based on this. So it doesn't matter if your solution is at an early stage. Now, the next few sections are related to the evaluation criteria. Your solution will be evaluated based on your answers to the questions that you will find here. I will go a little bit more in depth regarding the evaluation criteria when I finish explaining the submission process, so I won't stop here now. Now, As previously mentioned, both the team representative and an additional team member will be invited to attend our upcoming council session. So the mentorship and council session section will simply ask you to confirm your availability to attend. And here you will also be asked to provide some mentorship topics that you would like to receive training on during the mentorship sessions, if your solution is selected, of course. And lastly, we have the file upload section. Here you will be asked to provide some documentation, including proof of residence and age for both the team representative and the additional team member as well, and some team photos that could potentially be used for promotional purposes if your solution is selected. So regarding this, we ask that you try and upload high resolution photos if possible. In this section, you'll also get a chance to upload any supporting materials related to your solution that you would like to share. It could be anything from schematics, prototype designs, videos, additional photos, presentations, or just anything that could potentially help illustrate your solution better. Now, we know that it might take some time to fill out the entire application. So this is why you have the option of saving it and continue editing later by clicking the Save Application button over here. When you are ready to submit your solution, simply click on Submit Application. We ask that you please be careful not to click this button if you haven't completed your application. However, we know that accidents happen, so if you happen to click this button by mistake, please email us at youth@cec.org so we can help you out. Now, if you save your application to continue working on it later, you can always come back to it by clicking the Home button over here, which will take you to this screen. And to continue editing your application, simply click on Edit Application. Now, this was the submission process. If you encounter any issues or have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us at this email address so we can help. Okay, so now I'm going to give you an overview of the evaluation criteria that will be used to evaluate solutions. So 5 criteria will be used to evaluate solutions, and each criterion is worth a certain percentage of the final score. And as you can see here, the criterion that is worth the most is impact and community engagement. We are really interested in supporting solutions that can potentially have or that are currently having an impact in North American communities. This is why when filling out this section in the application form, you will be asked questions regarding how you will engage, integrate, and impact community members through the implementation of your solution and how you will measure this impact. The next criterion is feasibility. Feasibility is another big part of the evaluation, and it basically has to do with how realistic and achievable your solution is. So you will be asked to answer questions regarding the resources currently available to you or that you will need to be able to implement your solution and how you plan to manage those resources, as well as your envisioned timeline to achieve your objectives. We are interested in supporting solutions that are somewhat linked to the CEC's work, which is why there's a criterion that will evaluate the alignment of your solution with the CEC strategic pillars and the program theme. You can find the CEC strategic pillars in the link that we will share with you through the chat. And just for you to know, your solution doesn't need to align with all of them. So as long as your solution aligns with at least one of the strategic pillars and the program theme, you're on the right track. Now, just as a reminder, the program theme is Act Now to Support North American Communities and Preserve Our Shared Waters, Lands, and Air. Now, the fourth criterion is pretty straightforward. It relates to how clearly you can identify and describe the issue or problem that your solution is addressing or will address. And the last criterion has to do with innovation. So you will be asked to describe how your solution is different from current solutions. And regarding this criterion, just for you to know, we have a pretty broad definition of what innovation looks like. It can go anything from new technical solutions to circular economy initiatives, or the use of traditional ecological knowledge or nature-based solutions, or community engagement or environmental education activities, among many other possibilities. So it's a pretty broad definition. And so this was just an overview of the 5 criteria that will be used to evaluate your solutions. And we encourage you to read the GELP guidelines to learn about these criteria in more detail. And you can always email us at youth@cec.org if you have any questions regarding the evaluation criteria after reading the GELP guidelines. So now we will move on to the Q&A section of this info session. Julie.
Thank you, Eleonor. And thank you everyone for your questions. It's going really well, and I see that we've got a really interesting set of questions. First, I didn't mention earlier, I started too fast, as it happens sometimes. My pronouns are she, her. So do not hesitate to send me direct questions. So to begin with the first question, just to let you know also before I begin, some of the questions are going to be answered directly in the chat, and some other I will be answering verbally. So feel free to check either the chat or just listen to my answer there. So for the first question, no, it's not the first we received, but like the one that was most asked, will the mentorship, networking and seed funding be available to everyone involved in the application project, or only to the 2 people who submit? So to answer your question, it's a great question. To answer your question, the mentorship will only, and networking will only be available to the applicant and the additional team member. Regarding the seed funding, if you're part of a bigger team, I think of course then the seed funding will help support your solution. So it will be an advantage to your whole team if you're more than 2. But only the applicant and the additional team member will be invited to the mentorship session, and also to council and other networking events. The other question another question we were asked, can equipment be purchased with the seed funding? And if not, what kind of uses can the money be put into? So this is not a grant program, this is a mentorship program. That's what we're looking for solution. And that's why also the funding may use to develop solution tools, cover the cost of design, promotional material, prototypes, travel to pitch meetings, travel to communities where the solution will be or is implemented, expense related to workshop you want to follow, other workshop you want to follow, or any of these kind of expenses. But also why the money cannot be used to purchase equipment, because it is not a grant program, it's a mentorship program. We also offer a mentorship session on budget development and management. So you'll be able to ask, I've selected all your questions there. Another question we just had, will further funding beyond the initial 15K seed funding will be available if the project proves to be successful? Unfortunately, no, it won't be possible to receive more funding as part of the GELP, Generation of Environment Leaders program, because we provide seed funding. So it's really for the development of a solution of a project. But the mentorship is actually a space is aimed at equipping you and youth leaders to make your solution viable. So your mentors will offer support in finding further funding for you to be able to continue developing your solution after this initial seed funding. Another interesting question we had, do all team members need to be under 35? This is a really good question that you just asked. From the guidelines, I'm going to read from the guidelines, and do not hesitate to refer yourself to it. It's a well of information. The solution must be uploaded by an individual who will act as the representative for the team of submitters. This individual submitting should fulfill all the eligibility requirements. So, of course, the applicant has to be between 18 and 35 years old. All team members must be between 18 and 35 years old. It's we support youth-led teams and organization. So it means that the organization or team you're in should be it should be youth. But you decide. It's a team. It can be a team. It doesn't have to be your whole organization. So it's the people involved in the project, because you can be a team of youth working for a wider organization. So I hope it answered your question. So your team members working on the solution should be between 18 and 35, but you can be part of a bigger organization that supports your youth-led team. Another question here, interesting question here. Is it possible for a team to apply for 2 or more projects? This is a really good question, and if I'm not mistaken, you can definitely apply for 2 or more projects. But so it's per person, so you can either have the same person apply for all projects, or you can change the applicant if you want another team member to be the main applicant to another project. But it can be, you can have the same reference organization, for example. Another question, is it a problem that only one of the participants can attend the event to present the project because of visa issue? No, not at all. So it's important for at least either the applicant or the additional team member, if necessary, that one of you attend the council session and actually other in-person networking events. But if just only one of the participants can attend the event, it would be a shame because it's a great opportunity for 2 people. But if it's not possible, it's not possible, you know. So, but it wouldn't be something that would lessen your application. I'm just looking if there's no question. Also, please share. I don't know if you've seen just below, there's a Q&A button. So please feel free to ask your question via the Q&A. It's easier for us to follow than in the chat. So if you could, it'd be great. Could solutions that are entrepreneurial business ideas that align with the CEC strategy pillars be submitted? Absolutely. Formerly, the CEC had a youth program that was entirely aimed at entrepreneurial and business ideas. This one is wider, but it includes also entrepreneurial and business idea. So if you have a solution that fits the theme, if you fit the eligibility criteria, and if you want to be part of this mentorship program, yeah, feel free to present a solution that is entrepreneurial and related to business. Another great question. Is there any limitation in the number of projects that can be submitted by organization? We haven't put any number, any limitation on that. So feel free to share every solution that you have with us, and we hopefully one of them will be selected to be supported. Yeah, the mentorship. Another good question. Is it possible to participate individually, or does it have to be for a team? As we mentioned earlier, we really want to encourage and support collaboration. So you have at least to be 2 people to be able to apply. So you and an additional team member that should apply and to the GELP. And as you'll see, it's mandatory in the application form on the platform. Another question. Thank you for all your questions. It's really great to read you. Does the solution need to be applicable for all the 3 countries of the CEC, or it can be applicable only to the country of residence of the applicant? This is a really good question too. So the CEC is an organization that works with 3 countries, but what we aim and our goal is to support people and their communities. So what's your solution? What we hope for your solution to be is to be really specific to your community. And for that, usually it means that it's not applicable in the 3 countries because there's a lot of local particularities. So to answer more directly to your question, the solution doesn't need to be applicable for all the 3 countries of the CEC. And it's actually better if it's really specific to your community and you see that it impacts your community really more personally, you know, and that your community members are even involved in your solution so that it answers their needs. And you said here by country of residence, but I would even say your locality, you know, depending on where you live. And there's a question, I think, more for you, Eleonore. If within the project, future projects have been identified or some solution are being explored based on the insight of the project, in what part can it be reflected? I don't know if you want me to repeat it, feel free.
Yeah, can you repeat it, please, Julie?
So if within the project future projects have been identified, or some solutions are being explored based on the insight of the project, in what part can it be reflected?
In what part? I'm not sure I understand the last part of the question.
I think it's like if there is great insight and ideas for future project while managing the project, how can they showcase
in the application form? In what part of the application form?
I guess it's in the application form, because then it will be the mentorship, so we're gonna support. So
yeah, the application form does contain a question in one of the criterion where they ask about other impacts that the project could have. So probably in one of those questions, they could mention that, and also in the description of the solution.
Thank you, Leona. I hope it answers your question. So another interesting question regarding the organization. Does it help to already have an organization behind your project for eligibility? Actually, it doesn't help nor helps. It's good. It's good for you if you already have support. But the idea is really to support a team, youth-led team from, you know, a range of that have a range of experiences. So if you already have support and experiences in managing a solution, that's super great. If you don't, that's actually what the mentorship is for. So all is good. Then I see that it's almost 10:50. So just to let you know that we're gonna like have a few last questions, but in 5 minutes I'll give the floor to Georgina for the last words of the meeting. So another question: can the resource be used for the creation of a network of Indigenous youth interested in carrying out actions for the guardian of the environment? Yes, absolutely. It'd be great. I'm excited to read your solution and your application. But yes, absolutely. So but if I understand by resource is that the seed funding can totally be used to develop workshops for your community, to develop conferences and tools to engage your community. So definitely that would be a great way to use the funds. And also hopefully the mentorship will guide you maybe on how to create a workshop for your community or anything else you need. Maybe you already know that. Another question we have. My team is planning a National Indigenous Youth Energy Summit. Will it be able to apply the seed funding to this initiative? It's aim and at educating and empowering Indigenous youth to enter the clean energy sector. This is a really good question. So, because like your solution is already pretty developed. It's actually a project that's already happening. So the only issue here, and you'll see that it's in the question we ask in the application for, is that because this is not a grant program, this is a mentorship program, would you actually benefit from the mentorship? Because I mean, maybe yes, but this is also, we are also going to select solutions that would benefit from the mentorship, not only the seed funding. So because if it's only for the seed funding that it would apply, this I guess it would be maybe better for you to look for a grant program that would be just, you'll be more free with your time and just be able to use the money however you want. So it's more a question for you. Maybe would you benefit from the whole program, or would you apply only for the seed funding? Another question here. I see that I hopefully I'll be able to answer all the questions. I'm gonna try to talk faster. Another question: can the larger team be multinational even if the applicants are from one country? I guess if the applicant and if the additional team members are from the 3 countries, our guidelines specify only that. So that's how I would leave it at that. But you know that your solution has to impact communities in North America. So that's also important to remember. So you can have a larger team from all over the world, but just be mindful that your solution impacts North and supports North American communities. At what stage a venture should be at the time of application? For example, ideation, prototype development, testing, launch, scaling. Can ideas in the ideation stage be acceptable? On that, maybe Eleonore, if you want to jump in, because it's about the feasibility criteria somehow.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. So the question was, at what stage ventures should be at the time of application? For example, ideation, prototype development, testing, launch, scaling. Can ideas in the ideation stage be acceptable? And this I'm going here because it reminds me of the feasibility criteria.
Yeah, so great question. So the solution or venture can be at any implementation stage. So ideation stage solutions are acceptable as well, any stage. As I mentioned, there is a question that asks about what implementation stage your solution is at. So just select the one that applies.
Super, thank you, Eleonora. Another one we have, and I'll try to, yes, maybe take one or two before we finish. Yeah, I'll take this one and maybe another one. So how long should the seed funding be used? So the mentorship program is 1 year. So throughout the year, we will offer mentorship session about solution development and then management when you'll be a bit more advanced. So we expect for you to use the seed funding throughout the year to actually develop your solution. We'll require reporting too. You'll see in the guidelines that we will require 2 reports, one mid-year report and one at the final, at the end of the mentorship. And it includes also, so what did you do with the seed funding? How did it help? So yes, we recommend strongly that the seed funding is used during the year and to develop your solution. And the last one I would take, the team needs to be fully consolidated. What are the work requirements to consider the youth group a team? It's actually that, so we require the name of 2 people at least. So the applicant and an additional team member. This is and these 2 people has to be youth. So this actually, what are the requirements for us to consider you a youth team? Of course, we're gonna also see in your application if it's working with youth or, you know, if you're working with youth and if it's youth-led. But the requirement is only that you apply as a youth and that your additional team member is someone that will see that it's supporting and involved in the solution, and that will and that the both of you will be free and to participate to the mentorship all year long with us. You don't have to have any written documents prior to your application, but then you'll be signing a letter of agreement to receive the mentorship session and the seed funding, which will actually consolidate that you're a team. So we cannot just take a random youth. That, you know, it has to be someone that is involved in the project with you. I'm afraid that's all the time we have for the questions. So Georgina, I'm gonna give the floor to you. Thank you very much for all your really insightful questions. You made me sweat a little bit. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Julie. We did receive like a lot of questions, so, you know, we're trying to kind of answer them, either kind of writing the answer. I think most of them were answered kind of by Julie. If your question was not answered, please send us an email. I will do our best to reply very, very fast. We encourage you to go back to the guidelines. That's kind of the document that you have. You know, if it's in the guidelines, just follow the guidelines. If it's not there or just you have extra questions, please let us know. We have right now, you know, a survey, which I think is going to help us understand a little bit more kind of your feeling of how you see this mentorship program. It's a new program for the CEC, so any feedback that you can provide us, it's very important for us. You can either scan the QR code just to tell us our survey, and we will make sure to share a link also. It's being shared in the chat. It just takes a couple of minutes, but we will really appreciate that. We cannot thank you enough for joining this info session. Hopefully, all of your solutions will make it to the Fundant platform, and then we'll be able kind of, to start our evaluation, and looking forward to see 3 young leaders, 1 per country, Canada, Mexico, and the US, joining us in Wilmington at the end of June to present their solutions. Thank you very much, everyone. Hopefully this info session was useful. And, we just want to wish you, very nice end of the week, a good weekend, and good luck with your submissions. Thank you very much.